In this video, we're going to go over my first PDL draft league game. I'm not going to go over, so the draft has a lot of rules, and it means the teams are kind of weird. You can see them all on this screen here. I'm not going to go over it, but if you feel like reading, you can. But generally speaking, everything tiered, where higher things are better, lower tiered things are weaker, and you have to, kind of balance a team through all that. We'll go to my team first before we get into their team. Here we are. So we're the Intel. I'll kind of go over this more once we've looked at my opponent, but just so you can see what we're working with here, our first 5 picks are Dragapult, Grimmsnarl, Landorus, Rotom H, and I think maybe Tangrowth after that, but those are our best things. After that, I've got a pretty janky looking Trick Room core, but it's there, along with Inteleon and Sawk and Berserker to do some more supporty stuff. But the team does sort of rely on Landorus, Rotom, and Dragapult to do its damage if I don't have the Trick Room thing. And, it's Slowking and Guzzlord and Carbink, so it's not exactly a standard Trick Room set. Let's see here. We play the PI Disasters this week, so here's my opponent's team. Things that immediately stick out to me is how good Gmax Lapras does into my team. It kind of decimates most of the top things I have, and it's going to force me to play around it, but also probably to bring some weird things that maybe I don't want to, but if I want to handle this, I have to. He's also got a lot of Trick Room here. So there's Dusclops, there's a Alolan Egg. I don't think he'll bring it, but it's there. Slowbro, Hatterene, Lapras itself can be fine. Aggron, a lot of stuff that can work in Trick Room. So there's a clear Trick Room mode. And then there's also this Aurora's Arctovish Hail mode, where Aurora sets up Hail, obviously Arctovish has Slush Rush and Vicious Rend, and it's a weird combo, but because of the way my team's put up, I don't have a ton of hard answers to that. At least I don't have anything that can handle both of them together. So he could get rolling with that if he wanted to. And then there's always Ramami to do speed swat stuff, but I don't think I expect that as much. I think he'll commit to being slow. I don't know, it's clear. It's clear in this game I'm going to be faster than him unless Trick Room's up, and vice versa. So we'll kind of look at these side by side here too. It's just a little sheet I put together. You can read my notes if you care to, but so when I'm looking at it immediately, I guess this was some of my immediate notes too. Lapras had Slowbro Clops. Seems like something he might bring. I'm personally really scared of the Hail Core because I think it outspeeds everything I have. I have very poor ways of handling weather if it's kind of overwhelming like this. Sun, I can just sit on with a few things. Rain, I can sort of sit on with a few things. But with Hail, particularly if he's outspeeding me, I'm kind of in trouble. But I have to come up with a solution for that. I also kind of determined I can't stop the Lapras. But he has no Fake Out, and I get in my head that I've got Soak to get around Lapras, since when it's always going to Gmax, right? And when it's Gmax, it's either using Hydro Pump or whatever water move it has, and whatever ice move it has, and hopefully not Thunder in the last slot, but probably Thunder in the last slot. But I would rather be taking those off-stab Thunders from Lapras, one effective, than taking, I can bring Landorus if I soak it, which you'll see I actually do, and I can bring Dragapult more easily if I soak it, because first it's probably, hopefully there's a surprise factor, and it at least takes one ice move as a water type. And if I can get Lapras to be throwing off Thunderbolts as opposed to its other 2 moves, then, that's good for me too. I might lose my Dragapult, but there's less screens, less rain. That should be good for me. At least that's what's in my head. So what am I thinking? I think Dragapult is good because of Infiltrator. I don't see any way on his team for him to really lower my stats, so Clear Body's useless. He's definitely going to have screens, so Infiltrator was really good for that. So I think that's an easy pick. Inteleon, I have in my head early that I'm going to do this Soak thing, so I need Inteleon for that. Because of the hail threat that I'm worried about, I give Inteleon Rain Dance too. there's these weird scenarios where I can protect turn 1 if they target wrong, get a rain dance up, and remove the hail, and then I'm actually in a really good spot to counterattack. But I kind of need them to not kill my Inteleon first turn, which, to be fair, I don't think they would, because it's not threatening to either of their Hailmons that much. And I also need, Dragapult to not take too much damage through Protect, but I thought it was possible. Never ended up happening, but it has Rain Dance for that reason. You'll see that in a bit. And then I think I give it a Snipe Shot, because why not? And maybe my last move is that Tearful Glance, or whatever his move is, that reduces attack and special attack. I think I would have been better off if it. I don't remember if Inteleon gets taunt or anything like that, but it not being able to handle Trick Room is a real problem for me in the game, and whatever move I put on the end, I think I should have done something better in terms of Trick Room, but there you go. I started off thinking that I wanted to do a AV Landorus, and if I wasn't so worried about Hail, I would have, but in some scenarios I needed to protect, so I ended up going with like Soft Sand Protect, Earthquake, Rock Slide, and I think Brick Break, because why not? I know the screens are going to be up. There's a couple things on his team that don't want to be hit by fighting, and it gives me, if I get burned, it gives me an option. So that's what I go for Orlando. For Grim, again, I don't think I can really beat Lapras the real way, but I can do some trick eject excuse me, I can do some trick eject button nonsense. And then, I can do a lot after that. I could do screens, I could do taunt fake out, I could do a number of things. At this point in time, I haven't solidified on doing special pull, but that's what I end up doing, so I can bring fake tears. And then I think I also do have taunt and Sucker Punch. So I do Sucker Punch over Spirit Break because I can trick the button onto someone, and even if they get Trick Room up that turn, I can still knock them out with Sucker Punch, in theory, before they attack me. So there's that. I think, generally speaking, Spirit Break is better, but for this specific scenario, particularly, I'm still worried about this Hail team, or this Hail mode. I don't want to get rolled by it, so that's what I do there. For Slowking, Slowking's not really scared of anything on his team. It's really not. There's plenty of things that can fight it, but it's not like, no one's going to one-hit KO it, so I'm not, I can do what I want. I opt to go for Imprison Trick Room, and Eerie Spell is his move, and Sludge Bomb. That way I can imprison if I need to. I make his speed faster than, I'm assuming because he's Trick Room, he's going to have Trick Room stats. So my Slowking has, it's still slow because of what it is, but it's got a little bit faster stats. So we'll outspeed everything outside Trick Room, and then ideally underspeed Lapras in Trick Room. That scenario never really comes up, I don't think, but No, I go faster than his slow stuff, but I do want to be slower than him in Trick Room. Yeah, that's what I do. Okay, that's what I was saying, but that's what it's doing. It's very bulky EV spread, but I think it's mostly just HP and special attack. His base defense is pretty weak. If anything on his team hits me with it, I'm probably gonna die. So I might as well just load up on HP, capitalize off his massive special attack or special defense, and then hope to soak things if I can get a scenario where he only has special attackers on the field. Rotom H isn't the worst thing in the world here, but again, I'm very scared of the Hail Core, Lapras itself. If it's weakness policy and I mess up, things could go really bad. I might be playing in the rain a lot. All these things sort of lead me against this, and I'm thinking about Sock, but then in the end, Berserker is actually what stands out to me most because A, gets fake out, B, there's a number of things on this team that don't actually want to deal 100% with Berserker, particularly the hat, or any of the fairies really, and I don't know, I just like Berserker too. I thought it would be fun, that's why I picked it. If it does one fake out and then takes a hit, then it's done its job. So it also has taunt too. The taunt fake out gives me some options against Dusclops. If maybe I bring this in later, he brings Dusclops in later. I have some taunt options, things like that, so I can keep control of the game. But that's kind of the idea here. We'll get into the video now, and you can kind of see what he does. Skip ahead here. Alright, so here's the teams. Um, Immediately, I'm happy to see that the Hail Core is not there, so I don't have to worry about Arctivish, Aurora stuff, and it definitely sort of tightens up where my game has to be. And I know the scenarios I have to deal with. When I'm looking at his team, I'm almost assuming every time he's going to leave Dusclops and Lapras because it's so good into me. I think it's a no-brainer. And then after that, anything he's got is good. The Hatterene I think is good, although I do have a lot of poison and steel, but it's tough when, you know, it's got really good matches against Polt, Grimmsnarl, and it's not like the Landorus is going to do too much to it. Maybe I see a Blaziken. I think Blaziken's actually the one I at least expect given what I have. Whereas Aggron is scared of Lando, but I don't know. I honestly don't know what that Aggron's going to do, so maybe I see it. I think Slowbro is a pretty safe pick for him, just like Slowking is a pretty safe pick for me, where there's not outside of my Dragapult. Well, actually, you know, when I say that, it's not. My main offenses are pretty scary against it, but both of those also die to Lapras, so when paired with Lapras, it might not be the worst thing. But what I'm thinking this first game is, I'm going to get limited mileage out of this trick eject button nonsense, so I don't want to show it first. And I'll go with the backup plan, which is soak something and hope for the best. And I have two options here. I can either soak my Dragapult or I can soak my Landorus. And the idea about soaking Landorus is that I'm going to get super bulky with my max grounds, even if they're not hitting as hard because it's not stab anymore. But I'm going to get super bulky, and then hopefully I can just kind of figure out what's going on in the game, figure out his items. Like, for one, what does Lapras have? Two, who's got Focus Sash if they have it? And then three, where's that weakness policy? So hopefully with my bulky Landorus, I can figure this stuff out and then somehow try to win the game and at least get some knowledge going forward. So we'll kind of let this go and see what I do. In hindsight, maybe Dragapult is the better first pick here, but that's not what I end up going with. I really flounder here, huh? There we go. So it's Landorus and Inteleon first, with Slowking in the back and Dragapult as well. I don't know what else I do here outside Dragapult in the back. Slowking's pretty obvious. I love Slowking here because I can just kind of switch it in whenever I want and not be too scared. And even if Trick Rooms up, it's still going to outspeed some things on his team. It's actually fun fact, an own tempo Slowking because there's no, with the exception of my Draco Meteor, there's no stat dropping moves in this game. No one has any. None of his Dynamax stuff is going to do that to me. And I fully never expect Dragapult to live 4 turns, so I put on tempo on there that way in case of a G-Max Smite or something like that. It might come back to help me. It never ends up mattering, but just a fun fact. So he opens exactly what I thought he would. I do. This is the plan at the moment. Things are going according to plan. He sees my Sash, he sees my Saiyan. No, I don't think either of those are really surprising. So if it's him, maybe, I don't know what you expect when you see a lead like this. Probably not what I'm going to do. Probably, I don't think either of these things do. I really don't know. For him, I think the obvious play is get your screens up, get your Trick Room up. I can't stop it, so just go for it. I'm going to go for the Quake into Lapras. I don't know if this is the best play. I wanted some damage on it, so maybe later. A Thunderbolt from Dragapult could clean it up clean. That's the thought process behind that. But I'm definitely actually, I'm scared of this play because I haven't tried this out in practice. It's always kind of been in my head. So I've never soaked a Dynamax Pokemon on my own team, and I wasn't 100% sure it was going to work, so I was kind of a little worried. If it fails, then I lose the game immediately. There's no way I come back from that. He'll one-hit KO the Landorus, and then I'm just left here looking like an idiot because he's probably going to get a Trick Room up too. And the whole idea here is that I'm just so bulky he can't kill me through it. And then I try to, I make my play when Trick Room's over. So that's, I'm sweating right now. But I'm going to soak the Lando, but it works. So now I have a giant water-type Landorus who's going to be using off-stab. Max Quakes, excuse me. And, this is respectable damage. It's not great, but it's something. 30%. But I get my specialty up, and now I have 2 water types on the field, so anything this hits me with, I mean, there's no reason for it to use Thunderbolt on this. I take it like a champ. So plan's working real good so far. He's got screens up, but I don't really care, because I'm just going to kind of bulk my stats through this and then try to wait it out. He gets his Trick Room off, which, again, I think in hindsight, if I would like protect Taunt, if I could do that, where I taunt with the Inteleon, protect with the Landorus, and then, you know, just take the damage through the chip, it is what it is. I might be alright, but there you go. I Snipe Shot into Dusclops. It's going to do nothing. Another problem with Inteleon in this game is that if he gets screens up, I don't really do much. And then also the huge problem with this plan is that if I get burned, I don't do much. And I don't know what I do around this other than just like use a different strategy. If I had Dragapult, it wouldn't matter as much because at this point I could still bluff that I'm physical. And the WoW, you know, might give him a false sense of security or something like that. I really think Dragapult was the pick here, but you know, I did what I did. This is going to be a Max Quake into screens, off stab, and burned, which is just sad damage. And it's at this point in time, I realize that I'm probably going to lose this game. And the soak play, while cool, and while I did work turn 1, has led to a turn where I do this much damage with a double target to a Dusclops, and we're looking bad. So, you know, I'm looking for what to do. I think if I Tearful look, Lapras is probably my best play since I'm not doing damage with anything else. And I don't even know what to do with my Lando at this point. Just stay bulky, hope I live to the end. A Facade might have been a good play on this if I was going to play this route. I don't know what I would do it over though, because Rock Slide's kind of nice. I need Quake for the stats, and I don't know, I guess it would go over Brick Break. Yeah, I think the whole plan is actually just kind of busted from the start though, so it would have been better off just not doing this. So for Max Lightning, and with the +2 bulk, even the super effective hidden terrain isn't enough to kill me. There's a little HP on this. Again, I get to take a lot of liberty in my EV spreads because I'm naturally just so much faster than everything on his team, so I only need to meet, you know, certain minimums to make sure things go the way I want, and then I get to throw the rest into bulk of some sort. So I'd lower the stats on this thing. It's not Life Orb at this point. I haven't done it with a super effective, so I don't know if it's policy, and I really haven't seen anything else, but it's -1, and it's attacking into things that are +3, so it's not doing much. But then again, I'm also doing nothing. I really don't know how to fix this. Yeah, it's tough. And I get some weird thing going where I like soak Landorus turn 1 and block the Dusclops and then Toxic at turn 2 and stall it out that way. That's the only way I would win with this combination, I think, because Clops is just so good. But we'll skip ahead here because, again, I think this game is pretty much done at this point. I'm just stalling to get rid of Trick Room. He reveals the ally switch, so again, the longer I stall this first game, knowing that I'm probably going to lose, the better off I am, because I get to see stuff like this. I see the ally switch, I see the freeze dry. It's crazy that it does so little, because I'm telling you, even with the HP, is super frail, and I'm thinking I can maybe play my way back in here, because I'm going to die to the burn. Trick Room's going to be over soon. I can hopefully not allow this stupid ghost pain split, and then maybe I can make my play from there. If Trick Room turns around, then Dragapult will come back in, and you know, I can hopefully make some moves. So really hoping actually that Lando just dies at some point and I get a free switch into Dragapult, and maybe Dragapult Slowking can do something. I have no idea what he's got in the back. I've got a long road to climb, but you know, crazier things have happened. Let's skip ahead here and get into this move. Slowking, what is it, dodge? He probably tries to wow it. Yeah, so he went with Slowking, probably just, let's see, he's got Ally Switch, he's got Will-O-Wisp, he's got Trick Room. He would have Pain Split there if he had it, so he doesn't have Pain Split. The insane bulk of this Lando really paying off despite the super effective hits. So here's where I was kind of hoping that he would just kill me for some reason. I don't know how he would do it, given that I've made it so that I can't die. But, you know, there you go. What do I do here? What's my play? I don't really know. I probably need to imprison, but I don't. I go for the damage and just hope he doesn't trick room, which he might not want to. There's no like huge benefit from him trick rooming. I'm not doing a lot of damage to him, but if he does get this trick room up, I don't think I can switch. Okay, so I pick right. I don't think he trick rooms and he doesn't, and I get to see the aggro, and I rock slide. Probably praying for flinches here, really. Not gonna get it. He'll. Yeah, see, this is a horrible roll for me. 5 more damage and I die, and I think that's what I need to win. And I also fail to get the knockout there too, so this is pretty unfortunate. Really, what I'm left with here is, if I had Protect on Slowking, I could stall the turn out and be alright, but I don't. And I don't really think there is room for it on this set. It's just something you have to deal with. And I'll take my knockout on Lapras and break this Aggron to get rid of the screens and just kind of do a damage check. I know I'm burned, but it is 4 times super effective. So we'll see what happens. Get rid of the screen, and actually reveals the weakness policy, which is great to know. So we found it. We know it's not a Lapras. I don't know what Lapras has at this point, but you know, not policy. I see the Hyper Pump here. I take it like a champ. And then here comes the Heavy Slam onto Slowking, and that does so much damage. I don't think that kills me, despite my weaker defensive. If it's not procced, I didn't proc his policy, but I didn't expect it at all. And the game's over here. So I learned from my opponent that you actually are supposed to play these out, because they record the KOs for this. So for anybody watching from the tournament, this is a mistake on my part. I didn't want to show my item, and I didn't want to show that I was specially oriented, so I just quit because like there's no way to come back from this. I think we just ended up recording my knockout to one of his, and I don't get one for that. But it was a good game. My plan failed like from the get-go. It did what I thought it would, but it resulted in a situation where I just did no damage, and you know, it's tough. I thought this was going to be a tough game, and it turned out to start out a tough game. But I did learn a lot. You know, I know most of the moveset on the Lapras. I know most of the moveset on the Dusclops, assuming it's got Nightshade in that last spot. I know what the weakness policy is, and I know about the ally switch, so I got something out of this. I don't know if they'll expect me to do something as weird as a soak in the first turn, but I also felt like, you know, I led in a disruptive fashion, so hopefully they know what's going on. Fast forward here to the next screen. Alright, so this next game, soak didn't work, so we're going to Grim. My next 2 games, I'm thinking it's just Grim or bust. I'll hope for the best. Lead Grim Pult, and then Berserker, and I think Slowking in the back? I'm pretty sure I bring Slowking every game. Actually, Slowking was sort of a throwaway pick for me. I just needed something with Imprison, and it was the best thing on the board, but it actually does very well. I think even a better item choice for me might have made it do even better than it did. But so there's my team. Let's see what I fully assume him to go Grim, or excuse me, to go Dusclops Lapras again, because you know, why not? It's very dominant. In some senses, you never want to do the obvious play, but sometimes the obvious play is so good that like we both know you're going to do it, and it's how do I react to that? It's on me. So here we are, same as last time. He knows I have an eject button. He knows I have a life orb. So now it's on him to play around. What am I going to do? And can I get my shenanigans with Grimmsnarl through? Let's see. Looks like I really want to get rid of this Dusclops. I don't know if I go through with this though. This is going to require... Yeah, it's tough. There's a number of things we can do. I can trick either party. I can taunt the Dusclops. If I taunt the Dusclops, I risk him just attacking my Grimmsnarl and wasting my button. If I trick the Lapras and then go for an attack, then I give him a free trick room, and that's pretty bad too. So I think I missed what I did, but I think I opted trick the Lapras and then just protect the pole and stall out the turn. Or no, my taunt. I think I taunt. I'm pretty sure I get rid of trick room here, and just pray he doesn't hit me. Yeah, so here's the protect. I'm gonna take a decent amount of chip through this, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, I do get the trick off, and maybe I'm just hoping he doesn't go for. That's risky. I just hope he doesn't go for the trick room. But I guess if he does, it's not the end of the world. I can just switch out into Slow King or something, or Berserker, and just, you know, try to stall out the turns. But there you go. He wows, which this is why I quit that last game, was so you didn't know what my Dragapult was going to do. And I think, you know, you generally assume physical, but, you know, it can be special. In this case, it's special, particularly so I can use Fake Tears, but here you go. So I go for the attack into Lapras to switch it out, and I get ally switched, and this sucks, because I think I'm going to taunt the wrong target and attack the wrong target. Although, you know, it's a Shadow Ball. No, I Thunderbolt too, man, this went terrible. Shadow Ball was 100% the correct play in that scenario, and that's, you know, that's a misplay on my part. I get the Parrot though, which is nice, so should have done a lot more damage, but at least get some status effect, and, you know, down goes Dragapult. So, feeling really bad here, feeling real deflated, because I needed that thing to do damage, since I have a Berserker and a Slow King in the back, but it's never over till it's over, and you'll see that in this game, because I think I actually might have messaged him at this point thinking, like, you know, this is a tough week, but I'm going to move on, I'm not going to let me get him down, but I didn't know the etiquette, so I don't know if we have to play a game 3 or not. In Go, sometimes it's expected you play a game 3. I've never done a draft tournament in the main series before, so I messaged him at this point saying, like, hey, do we even play a third, because it looks pretty bad right now. I think I might have come off salty, but it wasn't even the case. It was just, you know, you win some, you lose some. I'm not going to get upset over it. But once again, I predict ally switch wrong too. I'll back that up. I actually thought a lot about that turn and picked wrong. So things are just, you know, again, I'm feeling very deflated, guessing both of these wrong. But I get my Eerie spell off, and this is actually very important. You're not going to notice it yet, but that comes out to matter. That he's used 4 turns of Hydro Pump. He has, you know, you got 8 of 8. He's used 4 because Eerie spell takes away 2 from the PP stall. I actually love the idea of PP stall in the main series, but it's generally not good. So like in the trading card game, I think it's fun if you can, you know, do some like energy burn stuff where you can let your opponent set up however they want, but they can never attack because they have no energy. That idea I like, that control, I think it's fun, but it's just generally bad in the main series because, you know, some moves have, you know, 20 points. It's just too hard to stall all that down. But in this one case, I can, and it puts me in a scenario where I can still win this. I have to max here. Berserker's a terrible max target. Grim can't, you know, there's no reason to max Grim. So I go ahead and max up here. I figure I can boost my stats. I'll pick up this knockoff, or excuse me, this knockoff pretty fair or clean. Maybe, I don't know. My base attack is just raw. There's no item modifying this. If I was like a Life Orb or an Expert Note, maybe I take this knockout for sure. But I'm very bulky. I have a lot of HP, and you know, I'm only going to get hit by a physical or a special move here. So, you know, things could be worse. I get the taunt off on Dusclops, which is great because now it's pretty useless. And then, all right, so this does it, you know, an okay amount of damage. Hattering's pretty specially bulky too, you can see. But I get my special attack up, and that's kind of the important thing here. Is if I'm going to take this game back somehow, it's going to have to be with this. So. Grim goes down, but it does its job. It prevents the Trick Room, and it also gives me a free switch in to Berserker here. So now I have Fake Out pressure on the hat, and I don't know what he's going to do. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to fake out that slot, and I'm going to set up my terrain so that I can blow through this Dusclops. I think Mindstorm at +1, probably going to do like 40-ish%. And with the terrain, I should be able to hit KO this thing. which this is actually a huge threat for me. Like taking out Dusclops if Dragapult goes down is a big issue because the bulk is just too high. So he protects. Still don't really know what the item is on that thing. Maybe Sash. Maybe a berry. I don't know, like a pinch berry. I probably think I guessed Sash, but there you go. This does some good, some great damage. Just a neutral attack into Clops. So, and then I get the para. So I guess that did matter. It was going to be a Nightshade. I think it has to be at this point. I don't know if it'll come back to matter. It just really depends on who he was targeting. But I forgot to ask him on that. There's actually some nice hacks going my way. So in this turn, I expect Fully to take 2 knockouts. Yeah, so nothing you can do about that. Ironhead takes the hat, and then I will Mindstorm into the Clops. And, now we're looking at a game. Now I feel like as dejected as I was earlier after the, poor trick and the guessing ally switch wrong twice. I thought I was done, but now we're looking like I'm back in it. I got 2 full health mons, mostly full health mons. This took a dazzling thing, so it's not much left. I know he's got his Lapras and then Blaziken's last mon. This could be the other focus sash here too. I try to keep that in mind. I think the Blaziken takes Berserker if it wants it. There's nothing I can really do about that. I need to get slow. Is the other thing. You could say that maybe I should have Eerie Spelled the Blaziken, not knowing what it's going to do, and hope that it doesn't target the Berserker. But I think being slow is important, and I think I want him to attack Berserker here. My win con is Eerie Spelling things, and okay, so it's Life Orb, which is great for me, which means it can't kill me. Excuse me, it's going to die when I attack it next turn. Para there would have been terrible for me. I think it might have been the game, but luckily no paralysis, and then I get my Trick Room up. I need to kill Blaziken here. The damage is too much. I think it could protect, but I also felt like his win con is Lapras, like doing Lapras stuff, not getting killed. Blaziken's definitely going to die if I hit it, so why not just, if I attack Lapras, it's going to live. And he'll get some damage off on me. I don't know. I had to call this right, and it looks like I did. So Blaziken's gone. Now we're in a 1v1 with my very bulky Slowking versus his Lapras. This, again, remember, this is the 5th Hydro Pump right here. And it stops just shy of my Pinch Berry. And I'm getting real nervous because I don't know if I take another Hydro Pump. I didn't do the math on it, but it would have been really close. However, I have this Eerie Spell move, which this is that, but it actually stalls out the Hydro Pump, which is crazy. I don't know. Slowking is very fun, and it really impressed me this game. And now we're really in shenanigans where I don't know if he could kill me either way. Hydro Pump is the strongest move, and it barely took enough damage to kill me from this range. And if he hits me one more time, and with basically anything, my berry will proc, and it's just game over there. So he's going for really the only play he has left, which is stall out my Trick Room with Double Protects and hope for the best. I think we were messaging each other at this point. He was saying what were you saying about no game 3? I had to explain, the lack of salt, but this ended up being a really cool game. I think Slowking is a really cool mon. I never really used it too much outside of goofy stuff like this, but yeah, turn that around. It really came down to the wire. Eerie Spell of all things being what turn the tides, which is crazy. But we're into game 3 now, and let's see what happens. This game, Slowking did so well for me last game. It truly amazed me. And I don't think it's like I said, I was using it as a switching because I didn't think he had any hard answers, but I think it's actually a good lead too for the same reason where, you can deny his Trick Room. Lapras can't hit it too much. I still think Dusclops Lapras is the lead go into me too. But I'm kind of, I'm farting around here trying to figure out what I'm going to do. Grim is this, I should lead Grim. I guess the real answer is, do I also lead Dragapult? And we'll skip ahead here. I don't. I lead Slowking and I lead Grim, and I have Polt, and I think I believe Landorus in the back. The idea behind Landorus would be, I don't know how useful Berserker would be. I don't expect him to bring Hat again because of how hard Berserker just shut it down. Landorus can hit Aggron and Blaziken and Slowbro for super effective damage. That's always nice, and you can get Intimidate on the two. So there's the thought process behind that. So we'll jump in here. So again, he leads off the same thing. I lead Grim, Slowking, and I'm actually kind of liking this. So now he knows my Pinchberry, but not that it matters too much. I get to trick into either of these. It's pretty free for me. Even taking the Eviolite off of Dusclops is nice. And then I'm going to Imprison because I don't want to play the Trick Room game with Dusclops. And, without Fake Tears from Grimmsnarl, I'm not really doing much with Slowking anyway. So, he actually withdraws the Lapras here, which is a good play, because I really wanted his Light Clay. And I trick the Bro. I get Citrus Berry, which is kind of cool, because there's a pretty decent chance that Grimmsnarl gets knocked below half at some point in the future. I still have Trick Room. He goes for Trick Room. Things are looking good for me. I taunt because I don't want the ally switch. I don't really expect him to do it this turn, but I think it could happen in the future. And I know it only has Nightshade outside of its support moves, so I'm not really fearing Nightshade on any of these things. And then I just attack the Bro, because why not? I don't know I'm faster than it yet, but given how I EV'd this, I'm pretty sure I'm faster than his Slowbro. I think mine's just Modest or something like that. So I get just free damage, kick this thing out, and we'll see what comes back in. And then I thought WoW was probably a safe bet for him there too. So yeah, taunt that away. All right, now I'm looking in a much better position. So even if he Dynamaxes here, really whatever he wants to do, I'm not in any direct danger. And then if I Fake Tears, the Lapras, and just Eerie Impulse it, really I Fake Tears the Dusclops. I wonder if I back this up. I don't remember doing this. Yeah. The idea in my head here is that any damage on the Lapras is good, any stat debuffs are good on the Lapras, because if somehow Slowking goes down, it's a really easy cleanup for Dragapult. At -2, Thunderbolt might even kill it. From the range it would be at after this Eerie Impulse at -2, and because I don't have to worry about the screens, like even a non-Dynamax Thunderbolt might be able to take it out. I'm not entirely sure about that, but this is the thought process going in my head that just kind of do that and hope for the best. So I get my Fake Tears off. He doesn't have screen zip yet, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be a Max Ice coming out here. Actually, it's Max Geyser, which is interesting. Does a lot. It's going to proc my Citrus though, which is great for me. And he'll set the Rain, which afterwards is good for it because it gets. I don't know if Max Resonance was better there or not. Because this is going to do a lot. Okay, maybe not a lot, but it's going to do some. It's going to continue to eat away at these Hydro Pumps, which is crazy. I want the Wings Policy off of that Aggron, so later on Landorus can Brick Break and or Earthquake it, without having to worry too much. So this works out great for me. Grim has had a great game. I think I took 3 of his items or something like that. At least 2. So he'll Lightning into Slowking, and Slowking, man, the bulk is crazy. Just doesn't care. And I'll probably, I forgot what I did, but I think I Eerie Impulse into, or I can't, Eerie Spell. I don't know why there's 2 Eerie's. And here he comes with the Steel Roller tech. I think this is crazy cool. Lapras sets the terrain, then Aggron gets to hit off of a pretty respectable attack stat, and then like the massive 130 base power of Steel Roller. And then you reset the terrain too. But now I'm feeling a lot better at this point in the game. I think I could choose to not max here, but because this is Life Orb, and because I know I need a lot of damage to come out of this Dragapult, I really max almost just to mitigate the damage from the Aggron into this slot, despite the fact that I don't need this. Excuse me, I don't need the damage from the max attack to kill this Lapras. I also intimidate the Aggron too, so I want as little damage going to Dragapult this turn as possible, despite the fact that I'm not going to attack the Aggron directly. And the max ghost will also weaken the defense of the Aggron, so I think a -1 up Brick Break should still kill, even though it's, you know, off stab and a weaker move, given what I saw the burned Brick Break do earlier. So that takes it out clean. You know, the thing's a -2. And it actually doesn't have screens up here either. Another thing to keep in mind for those Brick Break counts, but we'll see what he does here. He goes for a Rock Slide, which is decent. Landorus avoids it, but that wasn't going to do much to Landorus anyway. And then, you know, I do a good job of keeping my Dragapult healthy, despite knowing that it's going to take damage that turn. So in comes Dusclops. I'm pretty sure it's a modest max attack, or max special attack, excuse me, Dragapult, so I'm probably going to kill it with this Max Shadow. And then I think I just Rock Slide in the off chance that I don't KO Dusclops. I can't, if he gets Trick Room here, I'm in a terrible spot. So here's the Phantasm, and okay, so that thing's gone. So I'm gonna break the Sturdy at least on this Aggron, assuming I hit the Rock Slide, which actually matters. It could be Rockhead, but because I saw Rock Slide, I kind of expected Sturdy, but yeah. And then Heavy Slam actually doesn't work on VMAX Pokemon, so a little bit of a wasted turn, although at -1, you know, I don't know how much this could have done. It couldn't use KU Steel Roller. Rock Slide's not doing what it needs it to do, so he's in a tough spot here. And then I think the game is basically over at this point. Brick Break is a guaranteed KO, and there's no way this Slowbro can do anything, actually. He just needs me to misplay. It's his only option. And I think what I've done here with the Shadow Ball, yeah, it might live this. It's going to do a lot, though. Wow, there's a lot. Okay, so this is sort of, you know, it's irrelevant at this point. This Aggron, I think, is -3 too, so this Brick Break will kill 10 times over. And Landorus does something, finally, outside of just, you know, provide Intimidate. And that's the game. So I thought this was a ton of fun. I think my opponent played very well. I think I had to go with the super, like, off-meta stuff to even have a chance. And I really sort of got lucky, I guess, on that para. And I guess I got the ally switches wrong too, but I don't know. I thought these were great games overall. I think both these teams will be strong into the rest of the league, and yeah, I'm looking forward to see how the rest of them go. So hopefully this was useful or at least entertaining, and I will see you guys on the next one.